Hello and welcome to the mobilegamer.biz digest. I'm Neil Long and every week I go for a walk and tell you what's happening in the mobile games industry. Here we go. One of the biggest hits of last year was a game within Roblox, Steal a Brainrot, Grow a Garden, also a big hit. It is for me a bit of a blind spot. Fortunately, there is an expert out there, Anna Diaz. They used to work for Polygon and part of their remit was to go deep into live service games. So I kind of commissioned this almost for myself, really. I asked her a load of things about Roblox, brainrot in particular, and I think the answers are interesting. The things I wanted to know, are these brainrot memes and characters owned by anyone? No, they're not. So, I mean, you've got to be careful, but really, as long as you're careful, you can make some sort of hyper-casual brainrot game, and there are already plenty of games out there taking on these themes and get a bit of traction that way. It's all deliberately kind of random. I asked my son the other day to read off some brainrot characters, and he did. They've all got like silly sort of rhyming names. Weird Pokemon is how I would describe it. I realise I sound like a ancient man talking about this stuff, but I think it's important to know about these things, particularly with younger players. So I also asked Anna, what can we learn from what's trending and popular on Roblox? The answer is really how Roblox quickly capitalizes on memes and trends on the internet in a way that a typical game developer just can't. These games are knocked up by Roblox creators very quickly, much faster than your average mobile game, and actually the jankiness of your average Roblox experience is all part of the fun and adds to the slapstick. I think there's a lot of virality inherent in having such a janky, wonky game engine, and I think polish for these kinds of players is not really important. I also asked, what do Roblox developers do well, and what lessons can we learn from them? The answer, according to Anna, is community management. These games are from the community, played by the community, shaped by the community, and having that connection to your players is really, really important. Not just looking at the data like mobile game developers do, but building that community on Discord, talking to players on social media. I think we have seen a few game studios raise VC money and try and get in on Roblox with more professional productions, but it seems a bit like going viral. You can follow a certain playbook, but you can be sure that thousands of other people are following that same playbook, and once that playbook becomes popular, the algorithms like a different thing and the cycle continues. So if you're looking to get in on the Roblox action, it feels like going into it with a professional game developer's mindset is actually the wrong way to do it. You've got to think like an influencer or a content creator, but for video games. So yeah, I think I'm going to commission more of these Roblox articles because I don't think it's being covered in the way that it should, and we need experts like Anna to tell us what's going on in this world that I don't fully understand, and I think lots of other people don't as well. We'll probably go a bit deeper next time with Anna's help, and hopefully this will be a useful run of articles for people wanting to get a better grasp of what's going on in Roblox. Also this week, I spoke to Maria, CEO of Ustwo Games, actually a little while ago, just after the Madeira Games Summit in November. Ustwo Games, famed maker of Monument Valley and other Apple Arcade and Netflix games, is effectively now a PC-first developer, and I think this says a lot about where mobile is. As I say in the article, Ustwo has always been a sort of easy proxy for the state of premium games on mobile, and after their huge success with Monument Valley, after the second game, which must have been 20 2018-ish, they effectively became the Apple Arcade Netflix games guys. They have been porting their Apple Arcade and Netflix games over to PC, but I think reputationally they are a mobile game studio. And 2026, we'll see an end to that. It does feel like a loss in some ways. Really well-respected studio. One of very few mobile game studios who gets on awards lists due to the artfulness and the socially meaningful nature of their games. And it sounds like, I don't know if this is fair to say, but they were a little bit burned by switching to Netflix games, having long been associated with Apple and Apple Arcade. They switched to Netflix games with the release of Desta, The Memories Between. And then with Monument Valley 3, that was announced through Netflix with some fanfare. There was a decent marketing push behind it. That didn't really get any traction on Netflix games, and 6 months later it was removed. It's now out as a free-to-start game on iOS, Google Play, and of course now PC and console. A lot of detail in the article from Maria on that process and how it's been weaning itself off of Apple Arcade and Netflix, in her words. The fact that it is effectively moving away from being a mobile-first studio to being PC first is a little bit sad. You can't blame Apple Arcade and Netflix for this, but you can perhaps say that their attempts to save premium mobile games, or however you want to call it, support premium mobile games, is at an end, and as a result people are having to switch strategies. The time of those subscription services being a home to more interesting indie style games is over. So read the article on the site. I think it's interesting stuff. I left it quite long because I think Maria's answers are really interesting, and let us know what you think. You are halfway through the podcast. Here is a commercial break. I'll be back after this.
Xsolla connects developers with the resources they need to build, fund, launch, and monetize their mobile games globally. With Xsolla Webshop, sell virtual items, in-game currency, subscriptions, and custom offers directly to players, while driving up to 5 times the revenue growth. With the industry's #1 webshop solution, Xsolla provides the tools for developers to focus on what's most important: creating great games. Visit Xsolla.com to learn more. That's XSOLLA.com.
Ubisoft's mobile studio, based in Halifax, Canada, is to close. 71 staff are affected and will be laid off. I admit I didn't quite clock the relevance to mobile when I saw this story on gamesindustry.biz and VGC. I just assumed it was another of Ubisoft's satellite studios working on its various console games, but it is the mobile specialist, and it mostly runs Assassin's Creed Rebellion, which is also on ice. The statement that gamesindustry.biz got says there will be no further updates or live ops to Assassin's Creed Rebellion, which suggests it is in the process of being wound down, although that has not been confirmed. But I mean, the writing's on the wall for that game, clearly. That game was actually moderately successful for a little while. It was originally made by Behaviour Interactive, the makers of Fallout Shelter, and structurally it was similar. It's like a base builder with some sort of action stealth sequences in between. So a sad end for Ubisoft's mobile studio in Canada. It's not the first Ubisoft mobile studio to wind down. Future Games of London, maker of Hungry Shark and its various spin-offs, that was wound down maybe last year or 2 years ago. And Ubisoft does still own, I think, a studio in Germany that makes idle tycoon games. But yes, like with a lot of legacy console game publishers, mobile has never really been a huge percentage of Ubisoft's revenues. So this is perhaps an inevitable one. Hope all of those affected find a new job soon. It is early January, so it's 2026 predictions time. And I got 20 different viewpoints from various mobile games industry people on what they think will happen in 2026. I think the thing that sticks out to me is the number of people talking about the walls between platforms crumbling and premium games, PC games, console games, mobile games all coming closer together. Making games a risky business. It is smart to be on as many platforms as possible just to spread your bets. Elsewhere in those predictions, there's a lot of D2C chat, webshop chat. Gil from AppCharge says increasingly you'll see direct-to-consumer people at very senior levels in publishers, and they will own the whole direct-to-consumer P&L, which is an interesting thought. Berkeley at Xsolla, obviously these guys are inclined to say this, but I think they're about right. Direct-to-consumer web shops will become pretty much standard for large and middle scale publishers. I don't think there's any denying that. And of course, AI. So Naomi Alderman, novelist and co-creator of Zombies Run, she makes the point that AI slop will mean handcrafted game experiences will become the thing that people increasingly look for. I think you're already seeing this in the worlds of design. I'm probably a little biased here, but things made by actual humans with a human touch that maybe aren't perfect are a good thing, actually. On the other side, of course, the rise of AI coding tools and art tools mean that people may well be able to just totally skip having to learn how to use Unity, and these gamification of the world of apps is definitely a rising trend. There's going to be some coverage on this on the site soon. In fact, obviously AI coding tools, art tools will speed up production processes, hopefully. And Peter Hansen-Chambers, formerly of Hutch, makes the point that it'll be the startups rather than the incumbents who will benefit most. Naturally, big, slow-moving organizations will be less quick to adapt and take advantage of the efficiencies of AI-first game development. I actually don't think anything with generic AI art will break through, but you might well see a small team with a cool idea who have used a lot of AI tools to bring their idea to life. You probably will see that. That's the game with predictions. You don't know what's going to happen, but yes, the conversation around AI is certainly not going away. In Data Digest, we have summarized a few of the end of year 2025 numbers, posts that have been doing the rounds. Most notably, I think, Newzoo's assertion that mobile once again is the biggest games category, 55% of revenues in 2025, more than PC and console combined. That's been the case for years now, but I think it's always worth repeating. Gamesindustry.biz had their yearly infographic. Top games of 2025, according to Sensor Tower. Last War Survival, 2.12 billion. Second place was Whiteout Survival, 1.33 billion. Top games publishers, of course, Tencent, 8.75 billion for its mobile games. Scopely was a distant second, 2.96 billion. Sensor Tower also predicts that mobile downloads will be back to pre-pandemic levels in 2026. So mobile not maintaining the huge downloads we were seeing in the pandemic era. NCSoft has invested $104 million in Singapore's Indigo Group that makes Triple Match 3D, Tiles in Hole and Triple Find. NCSoft also acquired casual merge specialist developer Springcomes for an undisclosed sum. That studio makes Hello Town and Merge Suites, and this all follows NCSoft opening a mobile casual arm with Triple Dot veteran Anil Saman. Elsewhere you got numbers from Merge Mansion, 760 million in lifetime revenue. MAG Interactive's latest financials, which are slightly down. Mobile games making £1.88 billion in the UK last year, according to the Entertainment Retailers Association, and Mattel 163, which is the toy company's mobile games arm. That company has said it now has over 550 million players. There are also more numbers in the December top grossing and top downloads charts, which will be posted by the time you are listening to this. I haven't done the full analysis yet, but the highlights in brief are that Last War Survival came out on top in December, $140 million according to AppMagic. Those numbers, of course, do not include webshop and Chinese Android numbers, but Last War Survival way ahead in December, ahead of Roblox, 118.5 million, then Monopoly Go, 108, Whiteout Survivor, 105, Royal Match, 100 million. In downloads, Block Blast, of course, way out ahead, 38.3 million installs in December. Then you've got Roblox, 24.1, Free Fire, 22.2, Pizza Ready, 17.5, and Subway Surfers, 13.7 million downloads in December, all according to AppMagic. Have a look at the website for the full analysis of those numbers. I think that's the most interesting bit, the month-on-month comparisons. And that's it for the first podcast of 2026. My decision to record these while out walking is a good one in terms of filling the 20-minute gap I have between dropping my daughter off at school and going to a coffee shop. But it is also quite cold, and I have noticed myself being slightly more out of breath than usual on this walk, which may have something to do with the Christmas period in which I did not do much walking or exercise, and now I'm in big trouble. But that's fine, everyone else is in January. Thank you, goodbye.